Episode 12, The Shifting Sands, the rainforest's ecosystem begins to change rapidly. The Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the planet, was changing. To Anya, who had spent countless hours immersed in the heart of this verdant expanse, the alterations were as subtle as the whisper of a breeze, yet as ominous as the rumble of distant thunder. It began with the flora. Plants that had thrived for centuries were withering, their vibrant greens replaced by sickly yellows. Exotic orchids, once a profusion of color, were disappearing, replaced by a monotonous carpet of invasive ferns. The undergrowth, once a labyrinth of life, was thinning, revealing patches of bare earth. Then came the fauna. The cacophony of the jungle, a symphony of life, was growing quieter. The vibrant hues of exotic birds were fading, replaced by muted tones. The monkeys, once playful and energetic, moved with a sluggish lethargy. Even the insects, the tiny cogs of the rainforest's intricate machine, seemed fewer in number. Anya was alarmed. She had witnessed the resilience of nature, its ability to adapt and survive. But this was different. This was a systematic decline, a rapid unraveling of an ecosystem that had endured for millennia. Her research led her to a startling conclusion: the rainforest was aging prematurely. The trees, the lifeblood of the jungle, were dying at an accelerated rate. Their roots, once a fortress anchoring the forest floor, were rotting, leaving the soil vulnerable to erosion. The implications were catastrophic. The rainforest was a delicate balance, a complex interplay of flora and fauna. The loss of trees would disrupt the water cycle, leading to droughts and floods. It would also release vast amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, accelerating climate change. As the changes intensified, so too did the strange occurrences. Unidentified flying objects were reported over the canopy, their lights piercing the night sky. Eerie sounds, unlike anything she had heard before, echoed through the jungle. And there were the creatures, their behavior increasingly erratic. Jaguars, once solitary predators, were seen hunting in packs. Piranhas, normally confined to the river, were found miles inland. Anya felt a growing sense of dread. Something was fundamentally wrong. This was more than just climate change, it was something sinister, a force that was deliberately destabilizing the rainforest. Her team, scattered across the jungle, reported similar findings. The changes were not isolated incidents, they were happening across the entire Amazon basin. The rainforest was dying, and no one seemed to know why. Anya knew she had to act. She reached out to scientists, environmental activists, and government officials, but her warnings fell on deaf ears. The world was too preoccupied with its own problems to pay attention to the plight of the rainforest. Determined, Anya and her team pressed on. They established a base camp, a place to coordinate their efforts and gather data. They recruited volunteers, people who shared their passion for the rainforest. Together, they formed a network, a force for change. The road ahead was fraught with challenges. The rainforest was a harsh environment, and the dangers were real. But Anya and her team were driven by a sense of purpose, a belief that they could make a difference. The battle to save the rainforest had just begun, and it would be the fight of their lives. As the rainforest continued its rapid decline, Anya and her team delved deeper into the heart of the mystery. They discovered a correlation between the changes in the ecosystem and an increase in seismic activity. The once stable Earth was trembling, and the depths of the rainforest seemed to be stirring. Their investigations led them to a hidden cavern, a subterranean world illuminated by bioluminescent fungi. It was a world of strange beauty and terrifying potential. At the heart of the cavern was a massive, pulsating crystal, a source of raw, untamed energy. The crystal, they discovered, was the catalyst for the rainforest's transformation. It was emitting an energy field that was disrupting the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Plants were mutating, animals were behaving erratically, and the Earth itself was destabilized. The origin of the crystal remained a mystery. It was older than the rainforest itself, a relic of a time when the world was a different place. But its current behavior was a clear and present danger. Anya and her team realized they were facing a challenge of cosmic proportions. They were not just fighting to save a rainforest, they were battling against a force that threatened the entire planet. The pressure mounted. The world was becoming increasingly aware of the rainforest's decline, but few understood the true extent of the crisis. Governments were slow to act, hampered by bureaucracy and political interests. Anya and her team became the voice of the rainforest. They used social media, documentaries, and public speaking to raise awareness. They exposed the dangers of unchecked human activity and the urgent need for global cooperation. Their efforts began to bear fruit. A growing movement of environmental activists emerged, united by a common goal to save the rainforest. Governments, under pressure from public opinion, began to take notice. But the battle was far from over. The crystal's power was growing, and with it, the threat to the planet. Anya and her team knew they had to find a way to neutralize the crystal's energy, to restore the rainforest to its former glory. It was a daunting task, but they were determined. They had come too far to give up now. The fate of the planet rested on their shoulders. The task of neutralizing the crystal's energy was a daunting challenge. It required a deep understanding of both ancient wisdom and modern science. Anya and her team delved into the archives of indigenous cultures, seeking answers in the myths and legends of the rainforest. They discovered a ritual, a sacred ceremony designed to harness the power of the earth and sky. It was a perilous undertaking, requiring a deep connection to the natural world. The team underwent rigorous training, learning to meditate, to commune with the spirits of the forest. As they prepared for the ritual, the crystal's power intensified. The rainforest was in chaos. Wildfires raged, fueled by the dry undergrowth. Strange atmospheric phenomena occurred, with balls of light illuminating the night sky. The creatures of the forest were in panic, their behavior increasingly erratic. The day of the ritual arrived. The team gathered at a sacred site, a place of immense spiritual power. The sky was filled with ominous clouds, and the air was heavy with the scent of impending storm. As the ritual began, the team entered a trance-like state. They connected with the earth, feeling its pulse, its energy. They called upon the spirits of the forest, seeking their guidance and protection. The crystal responded. Its light intensified, casting an ethereal glow over the rainforest. The ground began to tremble, and the sky was filled with a deafening roar. It was as if the earth itself was in agony. Anya felt a surge of power, a connection to something greater than herself. She channeled her energy into the ritual, her voice rising above the chaos. The other team members joined her, their voices blending in harmony. As the ritual reached its climax, the crystal's light began to dim. The trembling earth grew still. The sky cleared, revealing a breathtaking sunset. The rainforest, battered and bruised, began to show signs of recovery. The battle was not over. The crystal's power had been weakened, but it was not destroyed. It remained a threat, a constant reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and nature. Anya and her team knew that their work was far from finished. The rainforest was healing, but it would take time. They would need to continue monitoring the situation to ensure that the crystal did not regain its power. They also knew that the world needed to change. Human activity had to be reined in and a new relationship with nature established. It was a daunting task, but they were determined. As they looked out at the recovering rainforest, they felt a sense of hope. They had faced the impossible and prevailed. They were guardians of the planet, protectors of a world on the brink.